Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Lant, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to Health Oddity, episode 103. Yeah, different intro today. It's me. I've been given the responsibility, the reins of power. It's just me and Peter today. So we're going to welcome you into our little boudoir. Just using. We haven't used the word boudoir for a while, have we, Peter?
We haven't. No, it's a good word.
So yeah, James is away on holiday. See, when I don't turn up, it's because I've forgotten. When James doesn't turn up, it's actually because he intended to. So it's going to be me and Peter just kind of going through everything, some musings, some general thoughts on fitness and where we are in terms of our own mindset and what we've been doing with some clients. And it's just going to give us an opportunity to catch up and have a good chat. In the meantime, being episode 103. If you haven't checked out the other 102 episodes, then you definitely need to. We've had some corkers recently with Dan John returning for his fifth time. Is it fifth time, Peter?
Five times.
5 times, yeah, 5 times. So, great episode. That was episode 100. So we've been around for coming on 2 years now, which is probably 2 years longer than most podcasts last. Everyone has an intention to run a podcast, but you don't. The reality of having to do it every week is sets in quite quickly, and hence the fact that me and Peter are doing this today is because ultimately we just could get it done. So
absolutely. What else are you going to do on a Thursday afternoon?
Exactly. So Peter, how are you?
I'm very well, actually. It's weird. I've been kind of drifting for the last few months. I mean, like training's all right and stuff like that, but I've got, when you get something in a groove. So training's in a groove because it's what I do for a living, and it's just very nice. And I'm in a groove with the guys in the park who I train outside and what have you. But I've just been like kind of drifting, thinking like, what else can I do? Because I've got time to do other things, and I enjoy my time. But I'm in the midst of thinking, and not that I need to do something else, just some fulfillment, because this is all kind of stuff I'm comfortable with now. So I need to get some discomfort in my life, and I'm about to do that actually. But it's just quite funny how you get to a certain point and then you're like, do you know what? I'm coasting.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. I'm actually feeling quite positive about it. I go on holiday in a couple of weeks. I think when this goes out, I'm actually on holiday. I go on holiday in a couple of weeks, and then when I get back, I've got a clear run up right until Christmas to get my head in the game and start something new or different or whatever.
Spiritually uncomfortable, emotionally uncomfortable, physically uncomfortable.
Yes. It's going to be more mindset type stuff, like getting myself out of my own way of things, like of thinking like, could I do this? Could I do that? It's like, yeah, you can. Of course you can. Just pick one and do it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm getting some help with that. I'm about to dive into a new coaching program, a mindset thing. So, that's going to be interesting. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
I think one of the things that I drift into quite easily is siege mentality.
Yes.
I think that's something that's ever present in my life. What I quite enjoy is the pace of running my own business, pace of a lot of the industries I've been in. I like to be able to make decisions. I also am very used to things constantly happening. Both on one side, that's really good because it means I have a very high pace to things. That's the way I like to run my business. I like to make decisions very quickly and run with them. On the other hand, I feel sometimes that I'm just completely overwhelmed with the amount of stuff and can be a bit crushed by it and be on that teetering, that brink of like, am I going to be able to get it done? Am I going to be able to recover? Am I ever present in other things? I mean, where do you feel with you at the moment? Is it that you feel like you've got a lot already set, you're more comfortable with those things, or is it that is there a kind of vacuum anxiety? It's like, hey, I've actually got things under control, but I feel a bit like there's open space that's not being utilized. Where are you in that?
I feel like it's the open space thing. I've got time in my day when I can do things. So, a meaning, I've got some time that I don't fill up. How would you say, constructively? So I just drift.
So at the moment you're just chilling out, just doing.
Yeah. So I train.
Yeah.
I train the guys in the park. I do my online stuff, which doesn't take me very long each week, depending on how it's going with the guys. And then I might have to change up the program sometimes. You know how it goes. Like when a program goes, like when Paul sends us our program, you know what it's going to be, right? Each week.
Yeah, horrible.
Well, you can guess what it's going to be because it's going in a certain direction. But then it gets to a point it has to all kind of not all change, but you don't know where it's going to go next because you reach a point.
That's it. Yeah,
that's where he's got the expertise, right?
That's it. It's the edge of the unknown that you get pushed to, and then you start feeling whatever it is. Sometimes it's that the session becomes too long. Sometimes the session becomes too heavy. Sometimes you have a technique blockage. And you say, look, hey, we need to rethink this. And that's really where I suppose the coach's mind comes in. It's like, we're on this path. And in order to keep you going forwards, we need to think it like this. And that's where, as you say, we kind of know that it's going to go up by 1 rep, 2.5 kilos, one set, whatever it is. You kind of get a pattern, but it's those jumps that are more where it comes in.
So with what we were talking about is like the online stuff, I get that, and that doesn't take me very long. But then I haven't got that many people on that. The more people I get on that, the longer that will take. But still, I could split it across a couple of days easily. As in, it's like an hour and a bit one day, and an hour and a bit another day, and what have you. So I usually do that over the weekend. And I've got time to go and walk the dog and stuff. So I've actually got time that I could utilize better. And it's been very nice to have that time. But now I'm like, I just feel like I could do more and I can help more people, because that's what we do, don't we? We'll help people in situations. So I'm like, right, how can I use that time? So it's time when people are usually at work, so that when I train the guys, it's before work, after work, lunchtime. So the times in between that is when people are actually working. So I can actually help them out online or somehow. I've got to figure that out.
Well, that's it. I mean, I suppose it's that time. It's a weird thing because you kind of got you've got the time to be working on yourself, but in a way you've got an urge to think about how you can. I mean, is it wanting to help other people with that time? Is it because you're trying to avoid something on yourself, or is it because you actually genuinely?
No, it's not. It's not avoiding anything. It's like I've got everything. Everything runs smoothly.
Yeah.
So rather than trying to get more people into the thing that runs smoothly and then taking it to breaking point, I'm like, no, I can keep that running smoothly and do something else as well.
Yeah.
And I've thought about it a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to just go and do something else for the sake of it because I've got time. It's like, no, I want something that is going to challenge me, but is also going to that I'm going to enjoy, which is part of this group that I'm going into. Is that's what it does. It helps you find that. So it's one of those things. It doesn't. You don't learn. Oh, this is a strategy to do this, and this is a tip, and then you do this. It gets you there. You do a couple of Facebook adverts and wallop. It's like you go into it and they go, you do what you want to do, but our framework will help you get there, whatever it is. So it's more of a mindset thing to say the likelihood is that whatever it is that you do want to do that you're not doing is because you've talked yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Several times or several million times. And that's true. And they always say, so I've been looking for something like this, but there's so much crap out there, as we know. There is in everything. People are just trying to get your money, aren't they? So there's so much rubbish out there, but this got recommended to me by Kirsten, actually, friend of the show. She recommended this to me, and it's just one of those things, when you're looking for something, you don't know where to go.
Yeah.
But when you finally get to the idea that you do want to make the decision, the coach, the whatever, the thing appears, doesn't it? And a lot of people say that, and I've heard that a lot. And the more it happens, the more I believe it. The coach like Paul turned up when I was, stuck at a plateau and just stuck in what I was doing. And then Paul turned up, and I was like, "Go on then." And I've been with him for nearly 2 years. So
I felt like about when I first started working with Paul, I almost felt like giving up at times because I was starting to really struggle.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I persisted because, 2 years down the line, I'm pretty strong now.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, there's many things, but if you just chuck it all by the wayside and give up in the moment, that's a long-term solution, to a short-term problem, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's the best way to fail, isn't it? Is to quit.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. There are times when you need to come at a problem from a different angle. I mean, there are times when you're hitting your head against things, but I think the job of the coach is to provide the best possible path to their knowledge, and the job of the client is to be the best possible student. And I think if you can combine those two things, then at least you can see where that journey will take you, and eventually, it's a platform to make other decisions, whether it's to stay with someone or to move on. But
yeah,
you've got to be the best possible student as well.
Exactly, and so that's what I think. What I'm going to try and cultivate is, because there's many people, you get this, and I know we spoke about. I mean, we had a 20-minute chat before we even pressed record, didn't we? But I've got that. There's a drill going on upstairs. I was talking about the pattern interrupt. I've just forgotten what I was going to talk about because all I can hear is this drill upstairs. I know you can't really hear it on here, but anyway, it's cultivating people into starting something. So, like I say, this, and I know this. You get someone along, they've got all the best intention in the world to come along. They're like, right, I want to get started. I want to get stronger. I want to get fitter. I want to lose weight. I want to do whatever it is. And are you committed? Yes, I'm committed. I'm going to do it. And then something happens and they fall off the wagon or whatever. And they're not as committed as they thought they were.
Yeah.
Or they've taught themselves out of it, or something happens. It happened to me with a guy who did 5 weeks. He had to have a hernia operation. He was recovering from that. And I was texting him and like, are you all right? Are you blah, blah, blah. After his doctor had said it was all right for him to come back and all that. And he said, I just think I need to take a break. And I'm like, you've already done 5 weeks. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I get that. I get that a lot, actually. Sometimes with the amazing 12-week program, is like, because it's set as mentally, people set it as a challenge. They hit the challenge, they do 12 weeks, and then it's over. And I get that. Sometimes continued training is beyond budget. Sometimes there is a pattern interrupt, which is, hey, there's a holiday, and that's what they've gone for. But we all know it's a long. It's a longer journey than that. I mean, I like to think that I'm a pretty good student for Paul, mainly because I'm still here, still doing it, despite a shed ton of stress from like pandemics, redoing business, kids, all those things. I train pretty much 5 times a week. There are times when I've hit like physically, for whatever reason, I've not been able to do it, or there's times when my business timetable just takes over my entire day, but that is rare. And I'm probably not the strongest by any means of any of his students. I'm probably not the most skillful, but I'm pretty persistent.
That's as a trainer, that's all you want.
Yeah,
I would say is the person's getting the result that they want based on their ability, and you get we send him videos, so that's how it works, and that's what I get my guys to do as well. Mm-hmm. The ones who send me videos, all the videos, I watch them all, and then move the program on, and we know where we're at. The ones who don't, I'm like, what do you want me to do this week? Because I don't know what you've done. Oh, I couldn't do it because I was busy doing this. I was over here, and I'm like, right, we'll just repeat the week.
Yeah,
and I don't know how I don't know how that makes them feel, but to
Yeah.
me, that I'm like, right, okay, hang on, what are you paying me for here? Because I'm just, it doesn't sit well with me, and that's my problem. But it never sits well with me. That
Well,
I'm like, no, I
part
want,
of
I
it's
want you to get it as much as you do. You know what I mean?
part of it's the conversation at the beginning, and you don't always get the conversation right, do you? So I mean,
No.
I've moved to literally asking people, and it's simple, and it's maybe not the most well. I think it's quite illuminating, but it's simple, which is on a scale of 10, 1 being unmotivated, 10 being I want to crush my goal straight away and I need to do something today. Where do you sit? And if someone tells around to me and they say they're 6 out of 10, I say, well, you're not going to get the result you want. You've got to be an 8, 9, and 10, preferably a 9 and 10.
The
And if
problem
you
with
aren't,
that,
then we need to work out why you're not an 8, 9, and 10. And maybe it's just confidence, maybe it's a lack of application. But if it's just I don't care, then
the
you
problem with
won't get
that
it.
is though, if somebody could say I'm a 9, and you're like, right, let's go, and they're a 9 there and then.
Yeah. Well, you got to go in a way. You got to say why you're a 9. Why is
Yeah.
this? And dig down into it and say, okay, so what's going to keep you a 9? What's going to be what happens when you're tired and you're cut and it's cold outside that you got to turn up at 7 a.m. Why are you going to be a 9 then? And they say, well, look, I'm pre-diabetic, or or my kids, I can't play with my kids, or whatever it is, and then you've got you've done your due diligence on that individual, and then you just got to hope they rise to the challenge, haven't you?
Absolutely. And this is why I'm like, I'm starting to look at things a different way for especially for online stuff, because it's quite hard to keep people going online. I mean, most of the guys I've got online are great. But a couple of them are strong first instructors anyway, so they're going to do it, aren't they? Let's face it.
Yeah.
And what I'm looking at now is, so it goes along with the Dan John thing. We quote Dan John a lot on this, and he was talking about the flossing your teeth thing. If you say to someone, right, you want to train with me, do you? Okay. Can you commit to it? What are you out of 10? Blah blah blah, and they tell you, go, right, okay. Let's test that. So go in, floss your teeth every day for 30 days, and then come back to me. Send, take a picture, send a video, whatever. How you don't want a video of someone flossing their teeth, you know what I mean? But just check in, tell me you've done it, or whatever. And then if they don't do it, you're like, right, how are you going to stick to a program if you can't floss your teeth every day? I mean, flossing your teeth, it's a random example. It could be anything. That's simple. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to get people to do, is just write down 5 wins a day, every day, for a month.
Yeah.
And if they can do that, right, that's brilliant. Number one, it'll make you feel better. Because I was talking about this, when people go, oh, I've had a bad day because of this and this and blah blah, and they'll say the amount of people I've had is, no wins today, and I'm like, what does that mean? You haven't had anything positive from today. I've had no wins. No, can't find any. Right. So this is what I talk about, is like the smallest win is a win, right? Yeah. But people struggle with that. However, when people have had a bad day, lots has gone wrong. If you got them to say, right, write down what has gone wrong with your day and then read them back to me, the likelihood is they're going to be tiny little things that have just got into your head and annoyed you, or got in your way, or took some energy away from you, okay?
Yeah.
So they get exacerbated. But people struggle to apply that to wins, to the positive side of it, because they go, well, that was tiny, and then they make it smaller.
Yeah.
Whereas a tiny problem can become bigger. Do you know what I mean? That tends to be how our brains work, and I don't know why. So
I think the thing is that in kind of modern world, there's just so much stimulus. I mean, that's what I get frustrated with, is just I'm overstimulated in so many ways. I'm having to do so many tasks, and I think what I mentally struggle with is, how do I become actually present in my own life? Despite, I'm doing a lot of well-being things. I think if I was doing this, if I was having a similar job without my focus on well-being, I'd be a total mess. I'd be much seriously overweight. I'd probably be, candidate for kind of metabolic disease and all those kind of things quite easily. And I at times have a feeling that I am like King Canute trying to get the ocean to go back. And that is, I think, one of the that is a symptom of running my own business. It is a symptom of my own mindset, and it is a symptom of modern pace of life, and all of which at times, if you are not ever, I have a feeling, I think where the it's easy to have that negative mindset, and it's easy to have that to start speaking in the wrong language, but it is easy to feel like you are constantly fighting an encroachment in your own personal space. And probably the mindset is to think, actually, I am the one carving my way through this quite successfully. I am the snow plow, as opposed to the person who's been subject to the avalanche. And I think trying to get your mind around that is my big challenge, is to say, right, I'm the snowplow. I'm the one just going through it, making my own path, rather than the person shoring up the shed so it doesn't get knocked down when the avalanche hits,
Yeah, but the problem with that, I think, is that it's just a lot of effort.
It is
a lot of effort.
Exhausting.
And you can be the snowplow, but how long for? That's I mean, fair enough, a snowplow might work for a couple of months a year, and then you don't need it, depending on where you are. But you don't need it for the rest of the year, because it's done the thing, it's kept it back, and then it's got warm again, and all the snow's melted.
Yeah.
But if you're living in Siberia or somewhere and you're constantly doing that, you know what I mean? It takes a lot of energy, and so the well-being things like doing a workout, doing a session, getting stronger. That I find that great, but that's just something I do. That's not one of my well-being things, like the writing down wins, the journaling, the spending time on me, but spending time on my mental state is what keeps me going. Which is something you don't get a chance to do if you're constantly somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I've been hearing a lot recently as well about decision fatigue, so you're making decisions all day, every day, without even thinking about it, subconsciously as well, without even thinking about it. So there's something like, I heard a stat the other day whenever I quote stats, I don't know whether they're true or not, because I just heard it somewhere, right? But I think I'm pretty sure it was from a reputable source.
Yeah.
And it was like something like, you can only hold 9 thoughts in your head at a time, or something, but we have bloody 80,000 a day or whatever it is, something stupid, isn't it? Yeah. So you can only hold 9 in your head. You can only pay attention to up to 9 at a time.
Yeah.
But you're having these tens of thousands of others subconsciously. So imagine what that does in your brain. Yeah. Especially if if a lot of them are negative, you know what I mean? Or a lot of them are positive, but they just happen subconsciously. So you give credence, is that the word, to ones that show up, which may be negative as well. So it's massive. It's a huge thing, and we were just talking about before we press record how. And I was saying, I'm in another group with a lot of trainers who are talking about this as well. And people are either more flaky this year, or there's people leaving when you wouldn't think that there would, people who uncharacteristically leaving, sort of thing as well. And obviously a lot has changed over the last couple of years with the pandemic and everything. And people, there seems to have been a shift in. I mean, there's a cost of living crisis and all. Like, there's lots of things happening, and I think people are just tired of all of this stuff, and they can't work out what to do.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because I think there's so many options out there, and they all seem that everything promises things all the time. But I think in reality, people are kind of like, well, these things haven't worked. I'm unsure. I don't trust things. There's a lack of trust in the media. There's a lack of trust in professionals, in the sciences. There's so much. For example, there's a lack of trust in the NHS and politics. We don't trust our government because we're losing a prime minister at the moment. We don't trust the guidelines around COVID. Do we wear masks? Do we not wear masks? Do we take a vaccine? Do we not take a vaccine? Do we trust our institutions? Do we trust our media? Are they telling us the truth? Do they have an opinion? Are they on our side? Are they fear mongering? You see it constantly everywhere. So it's just like this lack of trust is a fatiguing thing. And then me and you sit down with someone and say, hey, let's do let's hit that 6 kilo weight loss in the next 6 weeks, and let's do it.
Yeah. Do you want to be
smash
able to
it.
squat 100 kilos? They're like, I don't care. Do
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, I mean, all I know is that 60% of the time it works every time.
Yes. What's just happened there is what I want to. I mean, whether you want to post this in the Facebook group or anything, I'm talking to you guys here, the listeners. Whether you want to post this in the Facebook group or not, what Paul has just been gone through there. How did all that make you feel? What physically showed up while he was saying that? Because that stressed me out.
So I like to do that to you.
No, but obviously not. Like I'm not going to go and do anything silly or anything like that. But it's like, just when you talk about that in my brain, I'm just going, oh, for God's sake, like all this stuff, and it's like, which is why it's like you can let that affect you. You can let all of that stuff affect you, or you can just ignore it. Or let it into your life for an hour a day or however long, and then
That's it.
And then
like
do what you would
dosage,
actually normally do anyway.
Because we can't retreat. We can't become. What do you call it? People just live in a hovel, do nothing. Yeah, I mean, we have to confront it. So I think it's just having parameters in which we engage with it, and I think that is again one of the things that I am aware of is that I have to spend, I want to spend time with my children, but I want that time to be with my children, to be engaged and to be present and not have those other things encroach on there. And I think it's about, I'm sure there are people who do it extremely well, who can not defend themselves against it, who can compartmentalize their time and their engagement in certain areas of their life, and be fully present. I'm sure some of our guests can do that, but also I think a lot of our guests struggle with it as much as we do, and as much as our listeners.
One of my guys did something great. He just cancelled his TV license, and he doesn't have a TV license, so he's got no access to any of that TV. He can only watch streaming services, so therefore he gets to choose what to watch. It's not programming put in front of him. He gets to choose what to watch.
The big challenge for me and the kids, though, is that they can put, with all that choice, all they watch is Pokemon. Well, whereas at least when we had the BBC, we were the kid, or when you were a kid, like back in the 80s and 90s, it was kind of like children's TV started at 7, finished at like 9:30.
Yes.
So after that, you watched adult programs. So you didn't have a choice of what was coming on. So there's this idea that actually there was some curation in it. Your eyes were open to it. You were locked into a system, which is what the BBC or ITV wanted to give you. But you also had the opportunity to be exposed to things you weren't comfortable with or you didn't want to watch. Whereas now, one of the big things I get with tantrums, particularly with a 3-year-old, it's not Dino Dana, it's not Deadly 60 or whatever they want to watch. And then you put, hey, why don't we try something different? And you can see that they, as young minds, are kind of addicted into one thing. I want another Pokemon. I know I want another this. I want another that. And you could watch 50, because there's a billion episodes of any of these kids programs, and they can just go on loop with the streaming services and just see the things that make you feel good. The echo chamber.
Yeah. But you can still, if you've got an inquisitive brain, as kids, you might do, you might not do, I don't know. But if you've got an inquisitive brain, you don't have to go into an echo chamber because you can choose what to watch.
Yeah. And
choose something that might make you think and might make you feel kind of angry and might fire you up because you want to that day. It's like what we were talking about the other week with do you use tough love in training and what have you? It's like if you're feeling resilient that day, you might want to watch something like that because you're like, you know what, I can handle it today. And then other days you might just go, I want to watch something that's funny and just going to make me laugh because. Yeah. So I just found it like this guy says when he's done it, he runs a recording studio as well. He's a musician. He's the guy he's a lead singer for Sergeant Thunderhoof, who Jeff Sokol likes, the band Jeff Sokol likes. And he just said it's quite funny because he's got a technician and another guy who works for him in his studio, and he said that it's quite funny because they continue. Oh, did you see this on the news and blah blah? And oh, this is annoying. And he was like, he doesn't get involved in that. And he's like, have you seen how angry the pair of you are? And he's just standing there all kind of zen, And he just
Old
says,
man shouts at clouds.
Yes, exactly. So it's very interesting. I mean, people can do what they want, obviously, but I just find that I don't really watch the news. I catch it every now and then, just to it's kind of like catching the odd episode of EastEnders every now and then, just to see if somebody's, you go, oh, they're still in it, are they? Okay. And then don't watch it again for 20 years. This week is the last week of Neighbours, apparently. And Sean was over in Guernsey, right? Our dad still watches it, right? He's in his 70s and he still watches Neighbours. And they're cancelling it because nobody watches it anymore. And it was only on Channel 5. It's not. I don't think it's even still shown in Australia.
So what about Home and Away?
Yeah, there's only one guy on Guernsey who watches it, who's Sean's dad, right? And that's what's kept it going so long. So they're getting all the oldies back into it. And it was like, oh, that's her, and there's Plain Jane and blah blah and all that. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent there, but you
telling me that you watch Neighbours, basically?
No, I don't. Okay. However, we watched it yesterday because Sean was like, "Have a look at this." So, and I haven't seen it since like university, about 30 years ago.
Is Toadie still in it?
Yes,
he is. Wow.
But anyway, this is the thing. You can watch what you want. So like with the news and stuff like that, I try to ignore it. I mean, obviously things are going on in the world that you kind of want to keep abreast of, but I just try to ignore it because it gets in my head and then it I don't know, it negatively affects me. So like I say, every now and then I'll watch it just to see what it's saying, but a lot of it is just scary.
Well, the thing is, it's like, what's the balance between the information you need to know in order to be an informed individual about the world you live in, versus the dose of opinion that you need to have in your life? Because ultimately, a lot of these things are opinions and perspectives based on other people's agendas, and some of those agendas may align, some of those might not. Look, there are some newscasters that are more neutral than others, but often it's like you are constantly being bombarded by agendas, and I think that can be quite overwhelming, particularly when we're trying to make decisions in our own life.
I mean, to bring it back to the topic,
what's that again? What's the topic?
I don't know, but to bring it back to
this is why we have James.
To bring it back to health and fitness, if all of that is in your head, and you're like, right, I want to find somebody to show me how to get stronger and get fitter and stick to a program and get my head around that and everything, and your head's full of all that other stuff as well. It automatically makes it more difficult, and it's already difficult enough. This is why, I don't know, I've been thinking a lot about mindset recently. Because it was a big thing ages ago, loads of people were going on about it, and now it's all about this. I mean, I know you run a 12-week program, but it's like this 12-week program, this 6-week program. This will help you. This will help you. This will help you. And it's all these like finite things, which like, as we say, are great, but then at the end of it, what actually happens when it ends?
Well, the thing is often there are hooks. There are means of communication to be able to get across the message, because unfortunately the main mode of conversation in the fitness industry is short term, and so most people also think in short. It's not that they are thinking short term, but it's something that they can, again, because of the amount of mental processing they have in their life, they can think, I probably can do something for 6 weeks. And then when you sit down with them, you say, actually, maybe, I know you came in for a 6-week program and we can do that, but here's how I can actually make this stick. Because ultimately, you don't want to be just doing 6-week programs. I'm going to show you in 6 weeks how you can live a healthy life long term. And if you want to do that with us because you're enjoying it, then fantastic. If not, then you've got some skills that you can apply. And I think it's just the hook. But I think the undercurrent, I think that's hopefully. I think that's hopefully what I would get across to anyone who sat down with me. But I also have to speak the language of the current world, which is you know, the TikToks, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, stuff like that, which is sometimes a counterpoint.
Yeah.
It's speaking the language of the audience, but giving them your perspective on success. And the thing is about training and stuff, it is actually, once you get it down, it's quite simple. It's very, very meditative, and it's quite,
Yeah.
and it takes away a lot of noise. The thing is, I always say to my clients when they come in, it's like when they come in frustrated, I say, look, kettlebell's not going to answer back. You know, you can scream and shout at it, and it will listen, but it's not going to give you any gift.
How many people say to you as well, oh, I'm really glad I came today. I felt rubbish this morning, and I'm really glad I came in because I didn't want to get out of bed, but I did anyway. And now I feel like I feel better for it.
Yeah.
You know, I've got someone like that who I train online every now and then. Every now and then, quite a lot. I'll not get any videos that week. And then on the Sunday, how's it gone this week? Oh, it's been a rubbish week. But then when they do send videos, how's it been this week? Fantastic. I feel amazing. Right. Remember that and do it again this week.
Yeah.
End of that week, how do you feel? Amazing. I did you know, and then the week after, no videos. And I'm like, remember the feeling you said after each session. You were like, I feel great. Just take that with you. Get momentum from it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I've got a client, I've probably mentioned him loads of times, 68 years old, you know, he's pressing weights he's never pressed before. He's doing chin-ups. He did 100 chin-ups in a week, you know, and it's all just like consistent application of the basics and showing up week in, week out. He is my client who sends me videos every week. To be fair, like, if you are listening to this and you are not a trainer, you feel like you need coaching, you guys probably need to approach me or Peter, because you know, it works. You can get it done simply. You know, it's you know, there are loads of, it will find a coach who can do it and just apply the principles week in, week out. Yeah, you know, you can always think there's another approach, a more optimal approach, whatever. But if you can consistently apply basic principles and you click with the trainer you're working with, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen.
Absolutely.
Some people it happens really quickly. Sometimes it takes them a year. But if my 68-year-old client didn't do anything, he would have continued getting the results he was getting. Now he's a beast.
Yeah, exactly.
And your guy, he got SFG 2, Strong First Level 2. That's not easy.
Jed, his goal was to press the 36 kilo, which was his half body weight belt, because he's over 50. He's actually, I think his half body weight's like 44. So he got that. He was doing it for reps.
Yeah.
He pressed the 40. You know, so it went above him. Like, he was like, I want to be able to press the 36. I think he could press the 32 like twice. And then within 3 months, while I'm pressing the 36, and he got one rep with a 40 as well. And it was like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, and he's coming up to doing 100 pull-ups. What are we on Thursday today? Tomorrow, he's got 10 sets of 10. I mean, we'll see. I don't know whether he's going to do it yet or not, but he's capable. It's just whether he's how he's feeling on the day. Yeah, and then that's quite a lot. So we'll dial it back after that. But that's I'm looking forward to tomorrow, because I might get a video out of it this week. Yeah. I'll be like, hey,
we get kind of kicks out of seeing people succeed. I mean, totally. I'm just saying, if you're someone who is just thinking, I'm a bit stale, I'm struggling to press this way, I can't do this, can't do that. If you've got like Peter on your side, man, you're going to succeed. It's going to happen. It's going to happen if you do what he said. I mean, that's what I mean, it's just like, that's the power of working with people.
It's also trying to, you said this, so James's brother asked about a program, where to start and all of that, didn't he? In one of the episodes way back. And you came up with a program, just a generic program that would work for it was generic in the fact that it's like, you work out where you're at, start here. And this is what was interesting, because if someone's stuck, they're going to try and push to get to where they want to be, rather than step back and build. Yeah. And that's what you said, wasn't it? You start with a lighter weight. And I've got an example of this as well, but you start with a lighter weight, and then you keep moving forwards, because if you start too heavy, you've got nowhere to go.
Don't know
So
where to
there's
go,
there's another strong first instructor who I'm training, and we started him off, and he can do squats with 224s and all that. He's in his 50s as well, late mid 50s, I think. He can squat with 224s and all that, but he's squatting 212s at the moment.
Yeah.
And pressing 216s, which is very light for him, but that's because we've been working together for like a month and a bit. So in 6 months' time, he's going to be pressing those 24s again. He's going to be squatting the 24s again, or the 28s, which I think he can squat the 28s right now, but not for many reps.
Yeah.
And he'll be squatting them no problem. And I'm fully confident in that, and I know he will be.
And he'll be stronger because it would just happen. It will happen. I mean, he will be stronger.
And he's already strong.
And he'll be tougher in every aspect.
Yeah.
There's just no way that's not going to happen if he's doing that work. And because you know where he's got to go, and you know you're going to keep him accountable, and you know that he's going to have the technique to get him there, it's just a question of getting there.
Yeah.
You know, so the result is going to happen. It's just going to happen. It's just a question of whether or not he decides to follow your advice.
Yeah. It's, honestly, it makes, you say it makes, I always think like, it's weird this, because it makes my job easier. And it doesn't need to be a hard job, and it's not an easy job when you've got to try and motivate people or get them to form their habits and stuff like that. But it's just very rewarding when someone gets a result, and you try not to get like hugely emotionally involved, because it's hard then if you attach yourself to someone, because when they're doing poorly, it ends up hitting you quite hard. When everyone's doing well, everyone's great. But if someone starts to do not so well, then it hits you, then it's hard as a coach to handle that. So you've got to try and kind of distance yourself a little bit. But if you can't celebrate people's wins and really enjoy it yourself, it's difficult, isn't it?
It is. Well, I think we've probably come to the natural end of the conversation.
I reckon you're right.
I think we went in with no idea what we're going to talk about, and
it's just, I like conversations like that though, because it feels like when you're in them, you're having a chat and you're like, what the hell am I talking about? But then if you go back and listen to it, like if you go back and listen to this podcast, we'll be like, actually, there's quite a few gems in there, isn't there?
Yeah. It's a bit, you always have this vision that it's a bit like when you've talked, when you're 15 years old and you talk to your first girl and try and ask her out, and you go, that's kind of what I think is happening when I'm talking on the podcast. It's like, and Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
But it actually apparently comes out mildly coherent.
Yeah, you go blah, 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 blah mindset. Kettlebell. Reps.
Yeah. That's it. That's exactly it.
Like a dog,
Yeah, I think
blah, 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 Sid. Blah, 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 Sid.
So in James's absence, I won't ask him what he's up to and if he has any final thoughts. But Peter, do you have anything that you'd like to leave our lovely listeners with?
Not really.
No.
When it's one of these sorts of things, we've done all the talking, haven't we? So when we've got a guest on, it's great because you can go, you've opened up so many avenues, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go away, take all those away, go and think about it and all that. But this is just a stream of consciousness, isn't it, from us anyway?
It is, yeah. And maybe someone's actually made it to the end of the conversation, and maybe someone hasn't, and this bit's completely irrelevant, and, everyone's turned off by now. So I probably say what I want. But
you can test that out.
We could test it out.
Let's not. No.
I think we don't want to. We've got 100 episodes in. We don't want to ruin it now.
Exactly.
So yes, look, as ever, guys, you need to subscribe to this podcast. You need to like it on Facebook. You need to share it. You need to give it as a Christmas present. You can do whatever you want, but it's got to get out there, because the only reason we've got 100 episodes in is because someone's listening to it. So if you're listening to it, thank you. But please do subscribe, write a review, just spread the word. And we shall see you next week. I don't know. Is James going to be back next week?
Nope.
He probably will. No, he's not. Okay. So maybe it'll be another one of these with me Peter. Who knows? In the meantime, thanks, Peter. Good chatting. And we'll see you all, see everyone soon. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant, Paul Bassett, and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.